Welcome back, everybody, to the Rival StarCraft League. We are now in our quarterfinals. I am Koshkii. With me is DrennoC. How are you doing?
I am doing quite well, having a lovely evening casting StarCraft. Up next, we have Tefl v Jon Snow. We just saw Monty versus Beastie QT, but this is on the top side of the bracket, so these players, or at least the winner of Monty versus Beastie QT and Jon Snow Tefl, won't meet for a while. But man, Jon Snow versus Tefl, it's going to be exciting, Koshkii. I'm really stoked actually for this. We have NA versus Poland.
It's going to be good. Both players very skilled. I know I've seen a little bit more of Jon Snow's play than Tefl's, but I know they're both very good Zerg players. In ZVZ, it can be an exciting match because little things can make such a difference, especially in the early game.
Yeah, definitely. Very basic things can switch or pretty much completely overrun the game, but then you have the cool things into that mid, into that late game, which there's a lot more areas where players Zerg can go. There's a lot more avenues they can do right now, but it's really cool because not only is the early game really important on that, but when do you transition to the mid game? That's something that a lot of players kind of getting the game sense around, and that's something that for game one on Prion Terraces is kind of thrown. You're generally, okay, this is the point where I can transfer into roaches or lurkers or whatever. But with Prion Terraces with the gold bases, it can go completely haywire if you can really get on that gold income, that influx that happens. And it's not for the entire time you have the gold, but it's for that little time where if you can capitalize off that and do something. But then again, as I was saying, it can also just backfire. You can be completely thrown off of when you should go for it.
Yeah, these players, though, Prion Terraces, it's pretty popular for Zerg, so they've probably kind of solidified their plans, their timings. Wouldn't surprise me if they had everything kind of down crisp and ready.
They said game one of this best of five will be Prion Terraces, but looks like we do have player profiles coming up with our two quotes from each player.
Here we are in the bottom right is our red Zerg. It is Jon Snow. And funny enough, Jon Snow's quote is, "I am going to be the second best player NA behind Based God Neeb."
And his opponent, the troll of the series, it is the Green Zerg Tefl, saying, "I'll get one for the next series." I feel like, is this inspirational quote or what? Because I feel like you'd say, DrennoC, what's your quote? I'd say, StarCraft GG, well played, good game. And that's like, I mean, you could just come up with something. You just throw something out there like, DrennoC cool will be my quote. Literally just be DrennoC dash, what was your quote? So DrennoC dash quotes, DrennoC cool. And that'd be me. But you know, Jon Snow and Tefl aren't the amazing DrennoC, so they could not come up to par with my quoting capabilities.
I know, I don't know what I'd say off the top of my head. I'd probably just say something silly like choo choo. Because
that is not silly though. That is Protoss right there. That is not silly at all.
Protoss.
Yeah, the openings for each player is looking like a hatch gas pool from Tefl and Jon Snow, mirroring each other pretty darn well. So I guess really the question is, are they going to make that Baneling aggression commitment, or are they going to maybe keep on macroing and decide to go into the Roach, which is something I've began to see a little bit more and more. Rushing early Roach Warren decently working, and not even going for a Roach rush. Just saying, you know what, I'm going to rush early Roach Warren, get a couple Roaches up and hold a ramp.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Roaches are pretty strong in ZVZ. We've got those drones being transferred right away down to the gold base. We actually have that from Tefl, but Jon Snow did not transfer his drones. This could give Tefl a little bit of an edge.
Exactly, it could give him that edge, and that will favor the early lanes with both players getting metabolic boost. Of course, Tefl could get some damage done, but he's not mining more gas off the back of this. So for Jon Snow, even though he's now making workers there, he's got gas also on the way, and maybe it's not going to work out the best for him, at least the economy in the early game. But I think overall, he's in a much safer position where Tefl, as I said, not getting gas. But Tefl is not opting to be in a safe position either. He's going all for the greed, man. Going all the way.
Yeah, he's getting his third gold base already. Jon Snow he does see that gold base, so he knows that his opponent is being very greedy.
And I think
And you know
Jon
what?
Snow, with the continual income of gas, could be able to push it back.
He could, but he's also taken his own third base as well. Both players really, really being greedy in this game.
I feel like Jon Snow is probably saying, you know what, I didn't get an early Baneling nest, and so that is maybe the way he could have punished it. Since both players open up Hatch Gas Pool, we can kind of guarantee metabolic boost, so without Banelings, I don't think I can overwhelm it. Maybe do something here, but both players will opt to go Roach Warren, and really, I love these situations where both players can kind of see what happens, and they're like, no, we'll mirror each other, it's cool, we'll play macro game, like, I understand, it's okay.
Yeah, they really have done a very similar build here. We've got Tefl getting some more roaches. He's putting on a little bit of pressure. If anything, he's forcing out more lings or roaches than drones. We do have 6 more roaches now on the way for Jon Snow.
It is currently 14 lings of Jon Snow to the 23 of Tefl, being very, very aggressive, and Jon Snow is not careful. He could easily get surrounded. Jon Snow with coming up onto this high ground. Now he does have vision onto that high ground, so it won't be quite as hard, but still, Tefl has overwhelming numbers, and there's roaches on the way. Even though it's about even, and Jon Snow the defender's advantage, the lings may be just enough to get an early lead. That third base is going to be at jeopardy, and once the roaches accumulate all together, I'm not sure Jon Snow can even defend with them. This is going every great way for Tefl. He's just found the perfect, beautiful mark. He's riding that gold base wave.
He is, and the roaches have been surrounded by lings. More roaches arriving here for Tefl. Jon Snow looking in a very precarious position here. And Tefl, he's just really taking control. We've got more lings coming across the map. This is going to be very tough for Jon Snow, but he is pushing this back a little bit, forcing Tefl to kind of move back a little bit here.
Tefl was able to cut off a lot of this early roach pressure and shut it down, but Jon Snow, with that defender's advantage, is starting to accumulate a decent army. However, he's still got something he has to defend. He has to hold that third gold, or Tefl's just going to be able to overwhelm, but still Tefl, or pardon me, Jon Snow has nothing working at that third gold, and Tefl secured himself a beautiful concave. Queens are pulling down to defend, and there's the GG at the 5-minute and 17-second mark.
It was very impressive from Tefl. I think Tefl also realized what Jon Snow was doing and kind of capitalized on that weakness. You know, we saw those roaches getting surrounded quick. He hit at just the perfect time, right before Jon Snow had a lot of units out.
Beautiful play from Tefl, and hey, I guess that answered my question. It was pretty much like, do you know those timings? And Tefl did. Jon Snow, maybe not so much. We'll see, though, how they go into game 2. And I'm really curious if that's going to be a little bit of a compass pointer for the rest of the series. Not necessarily that Tefl would win it, but that Tefl really just kind of, he decided what he did, and Jon Snow said, oh, maybe I can't quite punish that. Maybe I'm just going to mirror you, but yeah, Tefl's going to overwhelm.
Looks like our next map, though, will be Arena. So we will be on a more interesting map, that bridge making the 2 bases really close to each other, and there's a lot of potential for aggression on that map.
There is a lot of potential, definitely, and there's also a couple of big open areas for the Roach v. Roach battles to happen if you have the middle rocks taken out or a lot of other things, but more so what I've been